Well, we want to get out on the grass fields today, so we're able to get that. A little bit different work week for us this week just because no classes, so our guys have a lot of idle time. That does throw out the NCAA 20-hour rule, too, so I can kind of grab them a little bit more than normal. So we've been meeting in the meetings in the evening, putting in a lot of really good time. Obviously, 11 good games on Northwestern to look at, as well as last year, for us. So from an injury standpoint, nothing's really changed from Saturday. I really expect everybody. Joe Barno went today. He was a guy that hadn't gone until today. So have him. Daniel Browns can increase his volume. Last week we just got him cleared right before, so should be good to go with him. Malik Elsie's practice lasted yesterday and today, so we should have him full throttle. And really that's about it. With that, open up for questions.
You touched on Wrigley the other day, your love of the Cap. How many, have you been there a lot over the years, and do you have favorite game, favorite player from there?
For the Cubs?
Yeah.
Oh, been going there. The reason that generated was my grandfather's a huge Cubs fan,
Okay.
so kind of drove out of that, and I think then really, I guess going into my senior year, believe it or not, when the senior media day used to be in Chicago. I went in a day early and took the train to my first Cubs game ever with Mike Devlin. Met Kirk Herbstreit in the lobby of the hotel we were at. He was a senior as well, so that kind of always stands out to me. That was my first ever Cubs game, and really kind of I was never good at baseball. I was usually the first guy picked in gym class for every sport other than baseball. I was usually the last. Wasn't very good at it, but really enjoyed the ballparks. Back in my younger life, before I was married, I used to go every summer to try to take in a new ballpark every summer. So I've been to Pittsburgh, Seattle, Minnesota, Denver, all the East Coast Giants, Boston. It was just kind of what I love to do. So it wasn't so much the player, the sport. It was kind of the environment.
But playing there football in that place.
I've never done that before.
Ever. So
Nope.
just your thoughts on how cool it is.
Well, I think it's pretty awesome. But last year when I really started, one of the first things I did in postseason was look at the Iowa Northwestern game because I knew we were going to play there. So then, to get both teams off the same sideline was a huge point of emphasis. But really just kind of take in the game for what it is. I'm going to be very interested in what the wind's going to be like. We're going to travel in there Friday. We're going to go through the stadium, but it should be a learning experience for everybody.
The cold and the wind, how do you think it could impact the game?
Yeah, that's why we went out yesterday, today. Obviously, they're not really calling for moisture, but we just started raining the last 10 minutes of practice. So we're preparing for that. I know it's going to be probably the coldest game that majority of our guys have been involved in, especially our Southern guys. Guys have been with us the first time. So we've been practicing it the last 2 weeks, so hopefully that'll have an effect. But it's all about what happens. It's not what happens, it's how you react to what happens. And I think that'll be a big part of Saturday's story.
What's Zakari's status? And then it didn't sound optimistic for Seth on Monday. Is that still the case?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Seth definitely won't be with us this week, but there's a chance for the bowl game. Zakari was out there in limited fashion today, but he's usually pretty limited until Thursday. But I do think he'll play Saturday. Seth, unfortunately, for the regular season game will be done.
I wanted to get your. Oh, go ahead.
No, their quarterback can move a little bit.
Yeah, again.
I'm just curious what you've seen with your defense against quarterbacks who can move, and
Yeah.
how do you feel like you?
Well, there's two types, right? There's guys that they design play runs for them, and that's actually where these guys are at. They actually design quarterback run game for them, and then I think Michigan State in transition to Minnesota last week, there was some read zone plays that really, were effective against us, and then I would say also just the design runs of what Northwestern brings are things you got to defend. It's definitely when they made the transition to him as a quarterback, they decided that's what they were going to do, and obviously with the weather the way it's supposed to be Saturday, that makes a lot of sense.
Just wanted to get your thoughts on Barry getting nominated for the Royals and your overall thoughts on being reunited with them for the last 3 years.
Well, I was the one that nominated him, so you as a coach get to nominate a candidate. I know the people that are involved in that. David Basil, who's a phenomenal guy from Little Rock. Ryan will finish runner-up, I believe, a couple of years ago to it. So just super excited for Barry. He's a very, he's a steady rock for us in this building. He's a really, from the first time I met him to where we are today, just have always had a great respect for what he does, how he does it. I think high school coaches, when I hired him, he was the offensive coordinator at Bentonville High School under his dad, and just his composure, his demeanor. Hired him as a tight ends coach, a former quarterback. He bought into that. I know he was relentless in his pursuit of just trying to find out how to play that position very, very well. We were really good at it. I remember at one point we had 3 tight ends. All 3 of those guys got drafted in the NFL and played a long time. 2 of them are, well, one of them still playing. The other one just retired at the end of this year. But his growth as a coordinator has been fun to watch. Obviously, they did what they did at UTSA, came here, and it's kind of a transition and adjusted each year. And I think this year has been a great assembly of, he's got a couple of different guys now with some good experience around him, and he's made the system here at Illinois his.
Barry talked about just using the second open week to really look at the offensive line, and that's obviously you got to kept Luke upright. What did you guys see in that, and what have you seen since then?
Well, I think it's easy, to always take that look at the end of the year, but those bye weeks really allow you to do a deep dive. I kept all my coaches off the road for a reason. I wanted them to concentrate on nothing but how do we make Illinois better. We needed to do well in these the back end of this last break where we got 3 games. 2 of them were going to be on the road, so I'm glad we focused the way we did. I think we learned a lot about ourselves, offense, defense. I think the other thing, not just the negative plays, but more efficiency on early downs, which we've been pretty good at overall. But I thought he really did a deep dive into that. And everybody thinks when you do a self-scout, it's about what we did bad. I wanted to know what we do well, right? And let's do more of that. I think so many people try to worry and dwell on the negatives. I want to know what we do well and see how we can do more of it.
So the efficiency on early downs, has that helped what you think the success on third down? And does this team feel more comfortable in third and longs, even though you don't want to be in them, but the capability
Well,
of
case in
converting?
point, I don't believe we had converted a third and long, or maybe we had 2 or 3 conversions on the year. And then, after that self-study, when we went to Michigan State, I believe we converted as many in that game as we had all year. So right away, there's an indicator that part was positive. But yeah, anytime you can have early down success, get to a third and manageable. One of the byproducts of Saturday for us defensively is they had a lot of success on offense on third downs, but they had 9 of those were 3rd and 3 or less, which is not exactly a hard. It's a conversion you got to get, but it's not as hard as 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9.
I'm curious. Go ahead, Bob.
Getting back to Matt's question about
Yeah.
the Royals Award, you look at that list. I mean, it's scary good.
Yeah.
It's just how do coaches view an award? Especially guys coming up.
Yeah, it's probably something I would say has really grown in the last 10 years. I know it was starting to. Now I was in Arkansas, so that's where it originated, right? And really had some merit. But I know it began to become a little bit more of a thing, and then obviously some of those past Royals Award winners became head coaches, so I know that's important. When we do nominate a guy, we do a lot more than just the statistics. We try to do everything they can. What do their guys do on and off the field? What have they allowed our guys to do? Sometimes those seem to be a popularity contest, right? The best ranked teams are where it's at, but I give Baz and his crew at that award a lot of credit. They do a lot of research, try to figure out who's had an impact in the game. For Barry especially, right? He's a guy that's been with me now 3 years, and the growth of Luke has been. I mean, everybody, listen. Luke deserves everything he's getting. He's up for all kinds of awards, but the growth from him to last year to this year, I don't think that happened by chance, right? There was a lot of diligence, and not just in making Luke better, but making our offense better, and I think Barry deserves a lot of credit for that.
I'm curious with Luke. Obviously, so he can do so much with his legs. But how do you balance 12 games in? I mean,
Luke?
that comes with also getting hit when
Yeah.
you're running. So how do you balance what you want of him to do with that?
Yeah, and he got hit twice on Saturday. I'd sent some clips in. We got called for a hit right on them, and I just thought there were the hits. I just wanted to get clarity, right? Because last thing, when we design a quarterback run, we know that the byproduct of that is he may get hit. If he can hook slide or get out of bounds, that's always positive. But Luke is an incredibly tough kid. I think we got to be smart about the way we finish and strain here, obviously in the regular season, but any hits we can take off him is a blessing, because that. I mean, especially with the competition gets better, one hit from one of those guys can change the season.
Coach, what does Thanksgiving look like in your house? Do you have
What's
any
good?
traditions that you look forward to? every year?
No, I know my girls are off from school, so tomorrow we'll get done here. About 11:30, 12 o'clock, we'll have a team travel meeting, and then our whole team has a Thanksgiving lunch that all of our families are here for. I think my wife likes it because she doesn't have to cook, and then we'll feed them up, and then I got some work tomorrow afternoon, but I hope to be home tomorrow night to put the girls to bed and enjoy a little turkey day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.